welcome back to another video for year three lily pad. Um, so one of the things I wanted to talk about is mindfulness. Um, we talk about techniques and tools and coping strategies all the time, and mindfulness has to be one of my favorites. Mindfulness is pretty new when it comes to therapy, therapeutic practices, really just practices in period in regards to human development and growth. Um, in a nutshell, mindfulness means clear comprehension, right? So its purpose is to help you see more clearly, to respond more effectively to what life throws at you, and to help you ultimately make wiser choices, right? So being mindful is a practice way of being a moment by moment, gentle and nurturing awareness of our emotions, thoughts, and bodily sensations. So I know there are some people that are going to squawk at that, like, oh, I don't want to do this, like crunchy granola kind of thing. But it's less about that than it is about being aware of that you're not connected mentally and emotionally sometimes to your physical body. And mindfulness helps you again just become aware. So clear comprehension, meaning I'm connected mind, body, and spirit. I know what's going on with me. Here are the things that I need and want, support, whatever, right? So with all that said, mindfulness is a practice of becoming fully aware of the present moment, right? The present moment, non judgmentally and completely, rather than dwelling in the past or projecting into the future. It generally involves a heightened awareness of sensory stimuli, right? So that means noticing your breathing, feeling the sensations of your bodies, and being in the now, right now, right? Mindfulness training can improve your mental activities and change your brain's connectivity and bodily processes, right? So there's whole practices devoted to mindfulness, and even some therapeutic modalities have added mindfulness to their already what is it? I can't think of the word. To their already created modalities established. That's the word I was looking for, right? So, how do you know mindfulness will help? So, some examples is you're struggling with the feelings of anxiety or depression. Mindfulness will just kind of help you um, kind of manage the symptoms associated with both. You'll feel distracted or find it hard to concentrate, right? So if you find it hard to concentrate, you're struggling with depression and anxiety, a lot of people will do distraction techniques and hopefully that'll make them feel better. You'll hear people talk about what's called a functional freeze. Sometimes that functional freeze is because, okay, I need to um, remain productive, but not productive in regards to the thing that needs to be done or I have to get done, right? You feel stressed. You have a hard time practicing self-compassion. That's a big one when it comes to people struggling with themselves. If you're not kind to yourself, if you're mean to yourself, meaning you talk to yourself horribly, you have a large like, you just don't think of yourself well, right? I was going to say a large chip on your shoulder, but that's probably not the right thing to say. It's more than a chip. It's just not feeling confident in yourself and not being self-aware enough to understand that, okay, like I've said in previous videos, that you're a multifaceted individual, right? So you struggle with overeating or excessive snacking. There's a whole section of treatment surrounded around mindfulness and eating. You tend to focus on negative emotions. Your relationship with others are not as close or as strong as you would like. And some of that could because you're not mindful, like you don't have a clear comprehension of why these things are out of control in your life. And mindfulness is a way to just kind of stop, to pause, to really evaluate like what's going on here. And so there's three vital psychological elements to mindfulness. One, intention. How we use our hearts as a compass, directing and reflecting our most profound hopes and values is one of the main components in mindfulness. All right. And so it's not using your heart in the sense that you are, it's using your heart in the sense of kindness and compassion, and not in the sense that, because a lot of people think if you use your heart to make decision, it's foolhardy. But mindfulness doesn't mean it in that sense. Then you have the second one is attention, training and grounding your mind in the present moment, right? And that's so that you can stay present in your body, so that you can understand what you're feeling and understand what you're thinking. Because again, distraction will take you outside of your body, it won't keep you present and in the now. An attitude. So paying attention um, with an attitude of compassion and curiosity. Curiosity meaning if I'm trying to figure out what's going on in my body and I feel a tingling sensation in my stomach, what is that, right? Like, why do I feel this way? Oh, I feel this way because I'm anxious about a conversation I have to have with a friend. Okay, well, why are you anxious about that? And so that curiosity, those whys will help you figure out what's triggering you, and also help you understand, okay, I can do something differently, right? I don't have to be anxious about this because my friend and I, and you fill in the blank, right? So mindfulness can help us escape a vicious cycle of negative thinking. It allows us to step outside the chattering of negative self talk, right? Negative self talk was my soapbox in the last video. So I won't belabor the point, but the reason why I like mindfulness and negative self talk is it gives you an opportunity to stop and really evaluate who you are as a human and put everything out on the table in regards to who you are. So, there are a number of different forms of mindfulness meditation and mindfulness based interventions. So, we're going to talk about a few of those. So, one is the body scan meditation, right? So, body scan meditation involves paying attention to the parts of your body and bodily sensations in a gradual sequence from feet to head, right? This method can help you become more aware of your physical sensations, emotions, and feelings. You're lying down on a yoga mat. Um, you're lying down on your back and you have your eyes closed, and you're just slowly, mentally scanning your body with your brain, just trying to pick up the sensations in your body. And if you feel something, you're asking yourself, where is that coming from? And if you feel nothing, just spend that time in quiet and connect it to yourself. So if something does come up, like a cathartic release, like something you've kept hidden and something you need to cry about, or you need to process, right? To connect with. The other one is breathing meditation. So you intentionally and curiously change your breathing pattern while paying attention to the sensations that arise in your body. This one is really good for people who struggle with anxiety because, for me, practicing your breath helps most, especially when you're an anxious individual. So learning how to control your breath will help you with panic attacks, because one of the first things that happen in a panic attack is that you just you have difficulty controlling that breath, right? You start to feel like you're having a heart attack, and a lot of people go to the ER um, during a panic attack because they feel like they're dying. Love and kindness meditation is another, excuse me, a popular self-care technique that can be used to boost well-being and reduce stress, right? People who regularly practice loving kindness meditation are able to increase their capacity for forgiveness, excuse me, connection to others, and self acceptance, right? So to me, that forgiveness doesn't just extend to other people, it also extends to you. And so that's the thing I love about that method is you can spend time encouraging yourself, affirming yourself, soothing yourself. And that's what's really important. And that's so that you can become more in tune with yourself. Because what I've found is clients struggle with quiet because quiet can be a scary place if your brain is saying negative things to you, right? Like if every time it's quiet, your brain says you're nothing, you're a loser, you're a bum, you'll never be anything. Who wants quiet? Like I'll stay busy because I don't want to experience that, right? Um, and the last one is observing thought meditation. It's exactly what it says. Like you're spending time in quiet, observing what comes up. So you don't try to change the thoughts, you just allow them to be. And once they are, you can then deal with what comes up, right? So um, one of my favorites, like I have a couple of favorite modalities for therapy, but one of my favorites, of course, and it's probably super obvious after I say it, is positive psychology, right? Positive psychology and mindfulness go hand in hand sometimes, right? Like mindfulness, positive psychology encourages acceptance and awareness that emotions are often influenced by and affected upon bodily sensations, along with the acknowledgement that even the most painful emotions are transient. They don't stay around forever. You feel it and then you move on. Their distressing, distressing, I can't get that word out, effects typically wane and change over time, right? I read this book recently and it was in regards to overthinking. And the man was saying that whenever you experience some psychological pain, two arrows come at you. One, the triggering event, so meaning the trauma happens, and two, the second arrow is the suffering that comes along with it. And he actually said that if you have the right mental armor up, you don't have to accept the suffering, right? So you can deflect the second arrow, accept the first one, but deflect the second one because you don't have to buy into the suffering. The trauma happened, the triggering event happened. So why do you have to suffer? You can just deal with what happened, scan your body for thoughts and feelings, manage your emotions, and then just accept that it is what it is, right? It happened. This is my response to it, and this is how I'm moving forward. You don't have to have the suffering. And so a concrete example would be if um if a boyfriend broke up with you, right? I time and time again I've had women come in and before the breakup, they've told me like some really distressing things about their boyfriends. But I mean, it's still gonna hurt if there's a breakup. And so, so the breakup happens, but the suffering after it's fictitious because they will say, well, he was such a good boyfriend. He was the love of my life. I'm really gonna miss him. We were so good together. He was my best friend. But when we review all those negative things that happen and the fact that they weren't compatible, and not in the sense of just kind of piling on the guy, because he's probably a good guy, just not for them. Um, so when we do all of that work, it's with the idea of you don't have to suffer because you were going to break up with him anyway. He wasn't a good fit for you. He didn't consider you. Like all those negative things will help you understand that you don't need to suffer inside of this breakup because your choice would not to be with this person anyway, right? So another favorite type of therapy, um, born from the union of mindfulness, is cognitive therapy. So cognitive therapy aims to help clients grow and find relief from symptoms of mental illness through like modifying negative thinking, right? And mindfulness is like we just talked about, is to practice state of being, aware of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions on a continuous basis. Is being present, right? And mindfulness also contributes to the acceptance of self as is, without attaching value or judgment to our thoughts. Okay. So sometimes, you have to let a thought just sit out there in the universe and then come to a conclusion. And it also gives you a chance. This can be added to reality testing. If the thought is out there, let's do some reality testing. So, for the sake of the rest of this conversation, if I'm talking about mindfulness and cognitive therapy, I'm going to call it MBCT. So it uses, again, mindfulness techniques to benefit the person and improve your mental health, right? So mindfulness helps you discover your own thoughts and mood patterns. We talked about that. Mindfulness, but this is with it combined with cognitive behavioral, which is why I'm repeating. So mindfulness will help you learn how to be present and appreciate the small pleasures of everyday life, right? Mindfulness teaches you how to stop the downward spiral that can emerge from bad mood and thinking about painful memories, right? Because a lot of people are distressed and anxious because they're thinking about the past and they're thinking about the future. Very seldom are we present, because if we were present, we would understand, you know what? I have a really good life. I have a really good life. I have a good job. I have a good spouse. I'm really doing okay right now. But I keep thinking about the past and how someone treated me. And not to say, and I don't want to say that in a sense to belittle the trauma, right? Because it happens. But if you think about it, if you stay present, you could really appreciate where you are now in life. Not only that, um, there'll be an opportunity for you to really hmm, just process those negative emotions without them piling on or without you having to just tamper them down, meaning compartmentalize, right? So mindfulness allows you to shift gears from your present state of mind to one that is more aware, more balanced, and less judgmental, right? Because if you're in that negative space, you have to move to a space where you're more balanced, especially less judgmental, because that will help you combat that whole idea of perfectionist, that whole idea of not being good enough. It'll just kind of help you with that. And so mindfulness also gives you a chance to access another approach for dealing with your difficult emotions and moods, right? Okay. So the last thing I want to discuss, and at the end of this video, I think I'll just leave a little music for you to practice a mindfulness scan, which is very, very, very helpful over time, with like all of these um, activities, you have to practice them, right? So let's talk about mindfulness and gratitude, because this is another place where you can just, gain some understanding of self, encourage self, and create a more positive brain space. So, mindfulness and gratitude are two things that, again, really work well together. Mindfulness encourages you to focus on the present and non judgmental way, right? And gratitude encourages us to appreciate things that bring us joy, right? So, you see how that marriage can be, it can be really, really fruitful, right? So, the habit of experiencing gratitude, to get into that habit, we first need to perceive what we're grateful for. And to do this, we need to take time to think, because a lot of times when are going about our daily routine, we're not finding opportunities in which to express our gratitude or appreciate the things that are around us. Again, we're just moving, distracted, doing our own thing, right? And so, ways that you can combine mindfulness and gratitude is through journaling, right? Taking a short period of time, either at the beginning of the day, throughout the day, or at the end of the day, to list things that you're grateful for. It can include material things, people you like, interactions you had, thoughts that came that were just kind of grateful, and not thoughts that were grateful, but thoughts that you appreciated, um, experiences, anything that you can think of. Just write it down if you're grateful for it. When you're writing it, spend some time explaining to yourself why you're grateful, right? I'm grateful for Shauna stopping by my desk and talking to me because I was feeling a little stressed and overwhelmed, and our conversation re energized me. And I felt motivated again. Um, but if that's too long of a sentence or if that's too much to write, keep it short. Shauna helped me, motivated me when I was feeling overwhelmed. Glad she came by. Boom, that's it. Your brain knows the rest. So, another option is to incorporate active gratitude into your mindfulness exercises. For example, mindfulness can help us to perceive negative experiences in a non judgmental way. Like, you know, I did feel um, overwhelmed. And so now that I'm not overwhelmed, I can appreciate that me feeling overwhelmed was just one moment in the day. And so I'm going to give you some better exercises, some better examples in just a minute. So just remember that you can take all the experiences that you're grateful for and just marry them with mindfulness and again create this really positive brain space. So think of it this way. You have a negative experience, you're terrified about a job interview, right? I am so nervous. But active gratitude says, I'm grateful to present my skills to people I admire, right? So it's not looking at yourself from a place of lack. It's just saying, I'm really grateful to have this opportunity. If you go into an opportunity grateful that you can present your skills and share, you're not going to go in as nervous, right? The negative experience, I'm worried that I might not finish my work by the deadline. Active gratitude, I'm grateful to show that I can produce when I work hard, right? Negative experience. I'm afraid that my partner will think my feelings are unimportant. Active gratitude. I'm grateful that I have a partner whom I can share my innermost feelings with, right? The last one is I'm sad about my father passing away. And active gratitude is I'm grateful for the memories I have of him, right? So that last one just kind of goes along with the example that I had earlier today of the two arrows. So the father passing is the first arrow, right? I'm gonna feel some kind of way, but the second arrow, the long-standing suffering, and I know this sounds minute, and I don't mean it to be minute, but what I mean is stay present in your grief. Don't compartmentalize, don't distract yourself from it. Stay present in what you think and feel. That doesn't mean you're not having that experience of thinking, feeling. It's the suffering, meaning I am upset that I couldn't save my father. I'm upset that I wasn't there when he needed me. I'm upset that I went out with my friends. That part is suffering. And so I want to make sure I decipher between the two because I don't want to give anybody the impression that I'm saying you should be over your grief and trauma by using mindfulness. No, that's not what I'm saying. So hopefully that example clarified. And so I'm just going to leave the next few minutes of music so that you can practice mindfulness and that you can do a body scan. And what you want to do is you want to go from your head to your feet to the very tip of your toes. And you really want to describe that. Close your eyes, describe the fact that you're going to go to the top of your head. What am I feeling at the top of my head? What am I feeling at the tip of my nose? What am I feeling in my lips? What am I feeling in my chin? You want to ask yourself little by little, well, body part by body part, what you're feeling. Um, the next thing also is like for mindfulness, whatever you're doing, be present. And so after you scan everything in your body, ask yourself, you can combine the mindfulness thinking, like, what am I thinking? What comes up? what comes up. So whatever thought comes up, just let it be there, right? If it's an anxious thought, it doesn't mean that it's real. Just allow it to sit there. And one of the exercises you can do is called Leaves on the Stream. It's a mindfulness exercise also. So what you can do is you can just put whatever thought that comes in your head and let it float away on the leaf. So mentally imagine putting whatever problem it is on that leaf. The problem could actually be an acorn, if that's what you want to envision the problem as. Putting an acorn on top of the leaf and letting it fly. I almost said fly. Float down the stream and just kind of go where it needs to go so that you can understand, okay, that is not truth. That is pretty much like two really good examples of mindfulness. So I'm going to leave you at about 4 minutes to do a scan. Do that for yourself, probably less than 4 minutes because I keep talking. The last thing I do want to say, because I just thought about it, is after the leaves on the stream, you don't have to do this one next, but after the leaves on the stream, if you want to do it the next day, do a soothing exercise after you do a full scan. I am I am healthy. I am this, I am that, whatever it is, declare that over yourself, affirm yourself, soothe yourself. And eventually, over time, these exercises will make you feel a little bit more centered and grounded and happier. So, I will see you next time. You guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.